Welcome to the Big Ticket Life. Each week, you'll hear and see stories of leaders overcoming struggle and living as examples of courage in their leadership.
Autonomy, your voice is heard, confidence, you feel good about what you're doing, that you feel like you're successful, fun, relationships, and safety.
That in a world where all of the information is available at your fingertips, the most important thing was going to be the closest relationships around you.
You'll learn about living examples of trauma turned into triumph, stories of healing and impact, and how you as a leader can create impact and legacy for your family, for those you lead, and the communities you serve.
Okay, now I'm obligated to share. They need to know this because I'm certainly not the only person who's going to do cancer.
Working together in harmony with the singular definite focus. And for Gathering the Kings, that singular definite focus is to create and live the exceptional life.
It's our role as leaders to expand on the space around us and bring others into that space.
It all comes down to your why. Your business, why are you doing it? How is it going to change the world and what's it going to do for your family?
Purpose comes from serving. Purpose comes from giving. Purpose doesn't come from getting. It comes from what can I do for you?
Living a bigger life, one focused on the healing and impact you can create for those you lead.
And then he said that, how we make decisions is we do it based on inspiration or desperation. And I thought, wow, I'm pretty desperate.
We're at the same exact spot in their life. The great things that have happened in life and the not so great things, the highs and the lows. Without those things, I wouldn't be right here, right now, being present with you. That's all shaped me.
But being that constant in your community, good or bad, whether things are great in the community, bad in the community, who's steady?
Taking the time and the space to slow down, and this is where inspiration begins to happen.
And they don't talk about the struggle, but I promise you, the story is in your struggle.
There's preparation at operating at a certain level. Any sort of professional, Taylor Swift, U2, there's schedules, there's rituals, there's timings.
There's nothing wrong with being humble, but there's also nothing wrong with stepping into your superpower and letting people know who you are.
Welcome to the Big Ticket Life. All right, back this week for another great show of the Big Ticket Life. You can catch this show live on social media, on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, every week, Tuesday, noon, East Coast time. We also put it out on DBTV, a really great up-and-coming streaming TV app that's on the move. Just signed the Global Flag Football League to broadcast out all their events and games in 2025. A lot of great stuff going on there. You can check us out on DBTV as well. And of course, if you're just true to podcasting and you just want audio, you can get that experience on all the major players. I have got an amazing guest with us this week, Richard Walsh. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm excited to be here. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so we're going to get into leadership and why ultimately it all begins and ends with you as the leader. You've exemplified that in your career. Really interesting. You're a Marine. Thank you for your service. Appreciate that. Marine, I'm not a service guy. Marines are hoorah, right?
Yes.
I'm really glad I didn't butcher that live. That would have been bad.
Okay.
Yeah. Boxer, black belt in Taekwondo, husband, father to 6 children, sculptor, steel sculptor, successful business putting in custom water features, really just an overall amazing individual. Richard, I thought we'd start a conversation with this for like the diehard business advice, people like wanting to dig into your mind, right? Like customers buy things because we as sellers can solve problems. And I shared this in my world yesterday. The one problem in my world that the people don't have, customers don't have, is finding a mattress at a discount. That's a problem no one has, right? They're always on sale. And yet, what does the broader industry lead with? That. So we already have like this butting of heads. What's been your secret? What's been your recipe for helping people solve their problems, no matter what you've sold over your career?
So let me give you a great example because I've been working on this with a couple of my clients. They're in the construction trades business, right? So I got some remodelers, I got some high-end custom home builders, and I tell people this: I can look at 5 different pictures of a new remodeled kitchen from 5 different contractors, and they're all beautiful, right? They're all great. You're looking at the pictures, look fantastic. Now go talk to each homeowner and say, wow, you really have a beautiful kitchen. What are the things you think you're going to hear? Are you going to hear, yeah, it's amazing, I love it? And then it's going to be followed up with this. But I'll tell you, I'll never do it again. Because
I hear that a lot.
Dirty and they're vulgar, the music, they never clean up. Well, they're not late, they're on time. It took 2 months longer. All the usual stuff you can look up, right? So what I did to solve that problem, because again, everyone's got the same end product. It's just like everyone's got a cheap mattress.
Mm-hmm.
So what we focus on is the experience. Yep. The experience is what they're going to talk about from the first call all the way through when they turn it over. Like literally what I help my people do, say you're remodeling kitchens, right? And people spend $200,000 on a kitchen. Okay. You know what I do for them? And I did this for another guy with my sculpture work I did too, for kitchens. You bring in a private chef and you give them their first meal. You cook it. You had them bring couples over. You feed 8, 10 people. Just break that kitchen in the way it's supposed to be broken. Have this phenomenal meal and cement that relationship forever. They've had a world-class experience from the get-go. Everything's on time, ordered, and if it's not, you know the drill. Mass communication, right? Just an incredible world-class experience. Then finish it off with that meal. Done. That's how we differentiate. That's what it's about. It's not about price. It's never about price. People will tell you it's always about price. It's not. It's about delivering that value.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you opened up with the kitchen example, I got this smile because to me, the kitchen, the dining room, that's where family memories are made, right? That's where you have that important conversation, a father to his son about the birds and the bees, if you will, right? It's that conversation, mom and daughter about the first big date to prom, right? When I was training in the furniture industry, selling to top 100s, I would train the RSAs. Like, this isn't a dining room table. This is where family memories happen.
Yeah.
This dining table has a cool storage thing. You can put Monopoly in there, Uno, cards. This is where that happens. It's not a black or a brown or a blue dining table. It's a hub for memories. That's what you're selling.
Yeah, we homeschool all our kids, right? 6 kids, we homeschool them. We had this massive 10-foot, real nice dining room table. Bought it 20 some years ago. Just replaced it. All the kids are pretty much done being homeschooled, but the marks on it, whatever. I'm like, this is the story of their education. It was around this table, it's in the living room, stuff like that. So we have a large counter in the kitchen, same thing. We're on there I wrote my book on that counter.
Yeah.
My best-selling book I wrote standing at my kitchen counter, like literally just hanging away on that thing 10 hours a day. Like, so it's the hub of the living space, so you're right. So we focus on that, right? So they got to understand, just like mattresses, you probably have a way of doing it yourself with that. But I was talking with some dental guys yesterday, same principle. They're trying to sell equipment, stuff like everything's backwards. Right? They don't understand. They're not going into the real value they're going to bring to the person. So if you have a dental assistant, it's not, do they want a better piece of equipment? Tell me about the misery it causes you personally not having this.
Mm-hmm.
Being slower. Like, how does it affect you as a human being in this job? Like, not is it going to take a better x-ray? Who cares?
Yeah. What are the ergonomics? Does this help your wrist, carpal tunnel? Does it help your back, bending over all the time?
Right.
Does it make the patient less antsy so you get the right x-ray the first time?
Right.
All that stuff. We got to focus on those solutions.
Exactly. It's really, you got to, there's another key too, Jeff, and it's relationship, right? When you want to create relationships. So what we did with one of my customer remodelers is we designed a client advocate position. So now the homeowner has one single person they connect with, and that person relays everything else, talks to project managers, talks to site foreman, talks to the owner, right? They handle it. But now they have this one stop. There's one person to talk to and everything's handled. That's a very different approach than your standard construction.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that stops he said this, they said that. The supplier who I happened to talk to as they were dropping off the lumber in the front yard said the next order's coming a week later, and I thought it was happening tomorrow. Yeah, it just stops all of that. Yeah, it's an expense, but it's an expense directly correlated to that experience.
Yeah, and you'll get ROI from that experience. That's it. So we always want to do what I love to show and demonstrate and teach my people, my clients, is every person who works on the team should be an asset, not a liability. So I want them to pay for themselves. They're going to be free. If we do this right, if you build it the way we're looking to build it, that person is free. They're going to make you money, pay for themselves, and then money on top of that. That's what you're looking for. Turn your people into assets, not liabilities.
Yeah. Let's dig into that, because that's a topic people get queasy about, right? So I have a few questions for you, and we'll get the backstory of like growing up, why you wanted to be a Marine, all that stuff. And we'll weave that in, because that's all cool. And it's good for people to know the fiber of who Richard Walsh is. But this concept of making people assets and liabilities, right? Like I equate it this way. You would choose a different power supplier if you had problems with your lights turning on each day at your business, right? You choose an internet provider if you couldn't connect and open up your point of sale and process orders and send emails. You have to look at your human capital in the same way. You have to look at them as humans, first of all. And I stress that often. You probably got that from the intro. And that's on us as leaders. But to me, it's perfectly reasonable, okay, to say what you just said. Let's make these people free to us, but let's also require that there's an ROI there. Now, as leaders, we have to put that plan together. Why do people have such a hard time looking at the human capital aspect of things through that lens?
I think it goes back to a system. It's really industrial age system, right? Which should just go away now. It's 120 plus years old. It needs to go away. That was just time for dollars. Mm-hmm. Let's just get people who can put A into B all day. Mm. There's no care about the person. Yeah. It was just a product. Let's get them to perform this. And that's hung on at every level, even corporate, up, white collar, whatever you want to call it. It's the same outcome. They're all looking for the same outcome. So they don't truly value their people. We do a thing. There's three things we do. We look for, when we're looking for people in the beginning, it's calling, character, and competency. Okay, we look for those three things, right? Competency is the least, because I can train people up. Right. Now, I want people who are competent, right? But we can train that up. Character, that I can't fix. That's above my pay grade. I don't have the bandwidth to fix someone's character. So they got to come with the right character that's going to fit in our culture and that, right? Yeah. Calling is a person who, let's go sales, loves to close the deal. They're called to do this, right? But if they got the character and they got the calling, obviously they're really good at it. Even if they're not, the competency I can bring up. But why people fail on this, what they don't see, because they don't know how to build the job position out properly. That's where they really struggle. They think they're going to come, oh, he's a great salesman. We'll come and do great sales. They don't give them a system. They don't give them a lane to run in. They don't give them any of the job functions, what they're actually responsible for, the expectations, the accountability. So these guys, they think they're going to come and build their business or something. Like they're going to create this program. No, they're not hired for that. They want to come and close deals. Yeah. They want to run as fast as they can in their lane, make big things happen. And if you can lay it out that way, they'll do that. Now you're going to get your ROI. They are true assets. It goes for anyone in accounting or anyone in your office manager, your site foreman, whoever you have to build it out so they know exactly what's expected of them and they can run, and they're given the authority to do that as well. Really important.
Yeah. Yeah. I love all that. And I love what you wrapped up with. They're given the authority to do that. I think the easiest way to frustrate your customers, frustrate your team, is to micromanage their ability to please. You know, in my retail business, every one of my front-facing people with customers has the ability, without question, to make it right if it's $500 or less. And I don't even need to know, we don't need to know. I mean, I want to know about it, and we are told, but there's really not a conversation.
Right.
Okay. It's, we trust you to make this decision. We've given you our guide rails. Make it right. We're not going to delay back and forth. We're not going to go round and round. We're going to make it right. And it's very rare because the process up front avoids the need for make it right. But we're also not infallible. We recognize that. I love how you said, give them the authority to make it right. What are some examples of where you get people comfortable with that?
So what we really do is, I'll kind of break it down for you. So you have a position, whatever the position is, that's the title, right? You have a title, sales manager or admin, administrator, HR, whatever they are. But then you have to build the functions. Okay. So a function is the what they do. Now there could be 5 things, could be 7, could be 15, could be 27. Right. And so here's what they do and here's when they do it. Right. Could be every day you do this, you open the office, could be once a month, could be every Wednesday, every third Wednesday, whatever it is, you build that out first. Next, you build a column of the how to do the what. Right. So now that's all detailed out. Then there's a third column that's the training for the how. Right. So we complete a full system. We have the training of the how. Now they know the what. They know how to do the what. Now, authority, once they're in that and they have a complete understanding of what they can do, right, and how they do it, when they do it, now you can say, and you have authority to do what? You're over this person, whatever that ties to, you have the authority. Just like you said, Jeff, if you have a $500 or under, you can make a decision. Okay, now we have ways of teaching problem solving too. Right? We don't want, they have to be able to do that as well. So we have a system for that too. But the authority aspect is like, I want you to run with this. You know what you have to do. You know how to do it. You know, if there is something that's missing, tell us, we'll fix it, put it in the system. But I need you to take charge of this and run with it. Any questions? And they take it from there. Again, especially if they're over people, whether it's one person, they have an assistant, or they have 4 or 5 or 6 people. Again, they're a job site, they're a superintendent. Okay, you're running 15 guys. Okay, well, you have the authority to make these final decisions. You're the project manager. You do ordering, right? We understand limitations. How do we, the finance aspect, where's the authority in that? It's to certain amounts, right? Certain time limits. You can order out to a certain point, but you can't be 4 months ahead ordering things because that affects what? Cash flow.
Yep.
Right. So we understand that. So you put these backstops in there, but you give them the authority to do this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So much of what you laid out there, I would say people rewind back a few minutes and listen and rewind and listen and rewind. And then don't just say, okay, I had the how, but I don't have the what, and I don't have the when, and I missed the authority piece. So I don't just pick one, like commit to it all. Because I think people do that. They pick this shiny piece of an airplane, and all of a sudden they think they can fly to anywhere they want to go. Right.
Right. I think, Jeff, the big problem is as owners. Okay. So you're the owner, you only have so much bandwidth. Right. So I always tell people, I said, no, in my experience, no owner, they want to systemize their business, but they don't want to systemize their business. They don't have the bandwidth to come and make all this stuff happen. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
But they'll pay someone pretty much anything if they'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can help. And here's the beauty when we do it from Sharpen the Spear, right? So, okay, we come in, I'm not going to sit there and keep telling the owner, you got to get this done, make all these whats. Here's the hows. How would they do this? I go to the actual team and the people, and we have them build it, but it's structured, right? So here's the resource, here's the accountable, here's the time frame. We give them all the parameters, and here's the big caveat I add. They don't do this for their salary. There's a bonus at the end of this, a really nice bonus, because what you've just done is you've now hired me to turn them into an asset. So they're creating and systemizing their job functions. They deserve something for that because they're saving you. They're making you a fortune, even from the scalability of your company.
Yeah.
That's another piece that's going to increase your valuation, right? So we need to understand, like, reward those people above and beyond, like reward them handsomely for doing that. Now I have the parameters, so it's just not, I said I did it and it's halfway done. I'm talking completed, again, accountability, but wow, that'll change your business in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah, really well. And so many people, they look past the value of systems. They look past the value of building your own data, like owning your own customer list, having that be a reliable asset. There's so many things that people just look past. One of my litmus tests when I talk to people is to see just how structured their business is, how organized it is. I say, if you were to outsource some of your time today, you say you're $1,000 an hour person, that's fantastic. So we immediately got to shed those $500 hour tasks, $700 hour tasks, $10 an hour tasks. If you were to say right now, you got to shed those things and turn it over to a VA, turn it over to a team member, show me that document. And so many times it just doesn't exist. Well, I do this then here, and I do that over there at this time when I have time. And sometimes it gets forgotten. And sometimes we send out reminders for reviews, and sometimes we send out thank you cards. It's like, well, then, really you're owning a job here. And maybe it's a well-paying job, maybe, often not, right? That's one of your lists, like not getting paid first, missing payrolls, things like that. I mean, that's just the worst thing. I know over my years, I counseled people. I got my wife on the phone one time with a customer, and this was in the early days when we could do like video FaceTime calls. And, it was her feedback shocked me because she doesn't use words like this, but it was an old school format store, a lot of like display vignettes and walls. It was like a maze. And my wife said, I feel like I would be assaulted in this store. And she didn't use the word assaulted. She used a heavier word. And it really surprised me. And my customer was really upset. I said, you know what? I'm going to leave his name out. But I said, she's right. I've been telling you this. And I got my wife's feedback. He's like, well, you probably had a conversation with her before. I said, trust me. I said, with all due respect, we don't do enough business for me to have pillow talk with my wife about your business. I'm doing this to really get it into your head. You own a job. You don't have a business, and your life, your personal life, is struggling. Your marriage is basically over. You missed all these things with your kids. Your kids are now having kids. There's still an opportunity for you in our industry, but it's not as a business owner. You need to go be a manager at a top 100 store that was moving into town. They were fixing to set a hiring event in a month. I'm like, this is what you need to do. And I know it's hard advice to hear, but they will put you out of business. You will have no chance for a retirement sale, no chance for a closing sale. It will just be done. And that was very hard advice to give. But for me, it came from the heart because I did care about this person as a human. I wanted to see them have a life. But entrepreneurship after 30 years just wasn't for them.
Yeah, I tell you, that's what I'm about. My greatest joy in what I do is, yeah, the business becomes more profitable. Yeah, it becomes systemized. But what we give them is the freedom.
Yeah.
Right? We give them the freedom to balance their life. And I call it the 5 F's, right? It's faith, family, finances, fitness, and friendships. People talk about work-life balance all the time, Jeff, and they walk away. They don't tell you how to do it. They don't have it. Yeah. It's just like, well, what does that mean, work-life balance? Work less and then what?
It's golf? A buzzword. It's a buzzword like blockchain was 5 years ago and crypto was 3 years ago and AI is today.
Yeah, it just makes me nuts. I'm all about results.
Yeah.
I'm a trainer. I'm not a teacher. I'll train you. I'll get you in shape. Like when you describe that guy, well, with people, I do it this, do it then. I go, that's like saying, well, I go to the gym like 3 times a month. I'm going to be a monster. Right. You're not, okay. There's nothing consistent about it. I see the 80-year-old guy every day, Monday through Saturday, walking 2 miles on the track. That dude's more of a monster than you will ever be.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he can show up every day and do it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's that kind of thing. But when you can change the dynamic of business ownership to where they've got those 5 F's and they can go spend time in each one of those, when they can be with their family, like you said, miss your kid's game. Okay. Your kid's, he's 7 playing his first soccer game. He's out there. You can't be there because you're working. And the game's at 6 at night and you still can't be there. You've been working since 6 in the morning, but you can't be there. As the owner, you can't go to your kid's game. The kid scores his first score. Boom, he hits that in, turns to the bleachers. Who's not there?
Yeah.
The one person he's looking for.
Man,
his dad.
You're hitting me in the yep. I was that dad for my first. I missed a lot of the first. I didn't do it the second. I just last night caught up with a kid I coached in youth football, and he was that kid. He was that kid.
Yeah.
Got a sack in the backfield, looks up, dad's not around. It was only then that he realized he wasn't there. And he told me, he's like, Coach, my dad's getting in my game today.
Oh. Yeah, dude,
that stuff tears me up, right? And
me too.
Like we have to, folks like you and I mean, sometimes we have to say the hard things and do the hard things and lead people to the hard things, but it's all so worth it. So I'll take a left turn in our conversation. A lot of what you talk about, I'm sure, is like natural to you.
Well, you mean now?
Well, right.
Because 30 years ago,
it
wasn't so natural.
Yeah. But there's things that are easier. So like, let's get into like, what was childhood like? What did the service mean to you? And back then, did you see yourself here today?
No, it's interesting. As a child, go way back, just kind of doing my own thing. I'm a middle child, so I think that gives you instant independence, or neglect, whatever it turns into.
Whichever way you want to look at it.
Yes, however you want to look at it. So I remember my mom telling me, well, we had to take you to the doctor when you were a little baby because I thought there's something wrong with you because you never cried and you didn't need anybody. You would just sit in your crib and never want anybody. I'm like, well, that hasn't changed, So but it's just interesting. I hear that. It's kind of funny. I look back and I'm like, wow, I kind of was like that. But growing up, there's a lot of hardships. We moved a lot, did a lot of different things, had to adapt a lot. I did try to enlist in the Marine Corps at 13 years old because, why not? I'm a 6 foot 180. I'm like, I'd rather be there than at home.
Right.
So I'm in a recruiter's office and he looks at me and goes, now, how old are you? I go, well, I'm 13, but I'm ready to go. And he's like, hands me some stickers in a little folder. And you come back when you graduate high school and we'll get you right. And I'm like, oh man. So I left and sure enough, got out of high school and said, okay, I guess I'll go back. And joined the Corps, got in. I was 17. My mother did not want me to go in the Marine Corps, any branch but the Marine Corps. Okay. Because your brother's in the Army. You should go in the Army. Whatever is in her head. I don't know. I said, well, I can't because I got to be the best. So I can't. Look at that picture. That's beautiful.
There you go, man. Proud picture.
That's when my nose was perfect before it got smashed a bunch of times. But no, it's really like, I have to be the best. I'm not going to go in the Army. I got to be a Marine. I got to be the few, the proud. I got to be that. I actually want to run towards the bullets. That's what I want to do. So there's this warrior spirit in me. And she kept saying no. So I had the recruiters come over. They sat on her left and right and browbeat her for like 3 straight hours till she signed. You want the best salesman in the world? Get a Marine Corps recruiter. Relentless, savages. Okay, they will never let they're awesome.
They got Mama Walsh to sign over her 17-year-old son.
Exactly, and she threw the papers, signed up, threw them, stormed in the bedroom crying. Now I'm not taking pleasure in that, but I was going to the Marine Corps now. And I did that. So that was a great thing for me. The Marine Corps was good. Now, another part of me, though, is, okay, that was great for a 4-year period, taking direction, being told what to do all the time. Not my favorite thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can do it just like I can be a great employee for about 12 months. Then I got to run your business.
Right.
Okay, it's just how it is. So got out of there, started working, swinging a pickaxe, digging trench in Tucson, Arizona for $5 an hour. So I'm literally swinging a pickaxe like some road gang guy, and I'm doing that. And $5 an hour, I'm like, wow, I think the Marine Corps was better than this, But a guy came up and wanted me to do a side gig for him, right? He has some granite. They do granite down there instead of grass. So he wanted me to shovel 35 tons of granite from the street, put in a wheelbarrow, take it to the backyard and spread it. I'm like, I can do that. I do it every day. I'm a superstar. So I spent $85 on a wheelbarrow and a shovel. And showed up, did the job. It took me 10 hours, like 100 degrees outside. But here's the beautiful thing, Jeff. That dude put $1,000 in my hand and I looking at that. man, I did this yesterday for $50.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, this was easier. I'm like, I know what I'm going to do with my future. And that was it. I'm working for myself, so that kind of started the landscape, a whole landscape, got in the custom water features, started building that stuff out, became an award-winning, nationally recognized guy. And that was the best at what I did some killer stuff. I mean, it's amazing. The portfolio was incredible. Taught myself how to weld and said, I'm going to do steel sculpture. I want to do that. So I started making that big, massive pieces, adding it to the water features and selling to clients. Then I got invited to do a huge commission for the Shed Aquarium. It was on Michigan Avenue for like 6 months, and they sold it to Beaufort, Carolina or somewhere. I don't know, but Beaufort, North Carolina. Did that. Then I did a world-class exhibit, permanent exhibit for the Garfield Park Conservatory. Now I'm internationally known. It's one of the most famous things around. It was the most cutting-edge exhibit in the world on photosynthesis. I mean, saying it's hard, but it's a pretty cool exhibit, right? It's going to be there for the next 100 years, I guess. All Core 10 steel, lasts forever. Water features. It's really amazing. So that was great, right? That all kept going. I'm building all this stuff. I'm running hard. Then 2008 hits. We all know the big collapse comes, right? So, but I'm making a lot of money. I'm doing well, I think. Okay, I'm doing all the outward things that look good. 08 hits, specifically November 5th of 2008, day after the election. I lost $500,000 on that day. People was canceling contracts. People were freaking out, right? Remember? They just holding on to their money. No one needed a water feature in their backyard.
Right. I mean, I remember 08 well. The home that I'm in now, where my studio's at, we bought in the early fall of 08. What was it about the day after the election? Was it like stock market collapse? What?
Well, it was who became president.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I knew,
it freaked people out. It freaked the people, my clients, they're very high end. Okay, freaked them out. And when the high end people are getting freaked out, it's a big deal. Yeah. So canceling contracts, holding on to their money, everything else. So we were limping through 09, and I'm like, I knew it was coming down. But here's what I do say, Jeff, and I really own this. And this is an important leadership thing. It wasn't because of the economy, my business collapsed. Mm-hmm. It was me and the things I didn't do. Because making money is the easiest thing you can do in business. Mm-hmm. There's nothing easier to do. Yep. Making money is a piece of cake. It's everything else. Yep. Keeping that money, making that money work for you, putting it in the right place, right? Scaling the business. That's the hard stuff. Doing the misery or at least allocating that to someone else. That's what you're supposed to do, which I didn't, right? So I realized, so we'll go back to like we were talking about the kids and the games and stuff. So in 09, early 09, I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking one morning, I'm like, working all these hours, I'm doing all this, business is everything. When I come home, no matter what time it is, I have 6 little kids, they run, they attack me, they love me. I leave, my one son would chase me down the driveway crying, chasing my truck. And I'm seeing that in the rearview mirror. I'm like, what am I doing? I got these little kids. And I realized, Lane, I go, if I stay on this trajectory, this business first over everything, I'm going to destroy their futures. I'm going to ruin their marriages. They're going to have failed marriages, broken relationships. They might succeed in business, but they'll have no friends. All of those 5 F's, faith, family, finances, fitness, friendship, all that'll be nothing. It won't exist in their lives. They'll never have balance. So I'm like, I'm not doing this. And that day I went and shut down. And my office said, guys, we're done. Went to my yard. My guy's been working with me for over 10 years already. Like the best guys ever. I said, we're done. I can't do it. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm losing my house. I'm losing all this. I said, I got to figure something out, but it's not going to be this. Whatever I do, I'm not going to let this business own me. Yeah. I'm not going to let it be my identity.
Let's put a pause in this moment, because what you just said, I'm losing my house, losing my identity, losing my children. All of that sounds like was going to happen anyway had you continued on.
Correct.
So, and I'm often butchering quotes and sayings and phrases, but it's a Chinese proverb, something about a swift knife with a black heart, meaning you made a very hard decision and you relate it from a level of compassion, kindness, and caring when you said, I went to the yard, and the way you described the people is they were with me for 10 years. Yeah. you made the best decision for yourself, which is ultimately what a leader needs to do. And it's when they're focused on their people as well, it also matters. But you realized the outcomes are going to go like this. They're both going to go around the bush, and it's no house, no relationship with the family, disaster. I'm at least going to keep my family. But it was a very hard decision, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, 20 years building that business.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been magazines and TV and awards and with politicians, stuff with the mayor, and I'm on the Fountain Task Force of Chicago. I'm like handpicked by Mayor Daley. The whole thing is like, I remember my friends, a couple of my close friends were I think they're bummed out to this day, 15 years that I quit doing that. Because I sold everything, Jeff. I'm an all or nothing guy. And I'm like, I sold every truck, every trailer, every piece of equipment, every welding, haven't touched the stuff, right? That may not have been the greatest idea. My wife definitely thinks it was not, because it was all paid for. And you're getting 20 cents on the dollar in 08,
right.
And 09 for that. So, but I don't operate that way. I can't keep one foot in. If I'm doing something for you, you got all of me.
Yeah.
That's
well,
how
you said something and I commented quickly, there it is. And it was when you were telling the story about deciding Army or Marine, and you're like, I want to be the guy running towards the bullets. I think you might have followed up with, I want to be running into the fire. And I said, there it is. There's that natural element. See, that's not a fiber of being for other people. Some it is, some it isn't. And for those that it isn't, they look at people like us, because I'm in that same vein as you. I'm a contrarian at heart. I want to be different. I'll run into the fire. I'll run into the fire just to run into the fire. Like there might not even be a cause on the other side, but just because everybody's watching, I'll run in.
I'll do it because you won't.
Exactly. And that's what I said. There it is. There's that fiber of being, and it's that innate thing. And this isn't to say to people who want to sit and watch the fire that they don't have quality, that they're bad. It's not. There's something innate, a quality to them that Richard and I look at you and we're like, how the heck do they do that?
Right.
The key as a leader is tap into it and use it, right?
Yeah, you've got to understand that stuff. Like it took a while to figure that out. You just do it because that's kind of who you are. And there were influences probably growing up. Like when you saw something on TV, you're like, oh, like watching the old combat show. I'm talking, that was whenever it was 50s when they did that or whatever, right? Like I love that stuff. There were reruns when I was a kid. Okay. But I loved it. All that stuff was just something I was always drawn to. It just seemed to just awaken my spirit, right? And I want to be that. That's the hero I want to be. That's the person I want to drive for. When I built my business, same thing. Like my guys, when you mentioned, love them guys. Like we were like warriors together. They worked every day. My foreman missed one day in 10 years because he was so sick he had to go to the ER, but he showed back up the next day. Yeah. I mean, and that's not because of me. It's because of what we built together. Right. The respect and everything else. So we just wanted to elevate them as people as well as just, again, competent workers. But I wanted to be the best. And it was interesting, Jeff, because they left one year because I had a bad project manager and they didn't really communicate to me, but they really hated him. And they left and they went and worked for another water feature building company. That hurt. And I don't mean hurt because they left. I mean hurt because I was in trouble. Like my guys were the best. Okay. Now I had to hire a bunch of guys to know what they're doing. Now I'm back on the job all the time, everything else. But so the year went by, I figured out it was a project manager, got rid of that clown. Okay. My guys came back in the winter and said, I know that, Larry's gone and everything else. Okay. Can we come back to work? I'm like, oh, and I'm trying to hold back. Like, I want to go hug him. Right. Like, yeah, you can come back. I'm trying to be a tough guy, like, yeah, well, let me think about it. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. But I asked him, okay, yeah, you can. I said, but tell me about your experience. Why are you leaving there? What? He goes, oh, nothing's level. We're building water features, right? Ponds, like water's level, right? Nothing works. He doesn't care. Homeowners screaming at him. The guy just wanted him to get done fast, get done. Didn't matter what it looked like. I said, see, you're doomed now. You know how to do it the best. You can't go back. You can never go do that. And they knew it. Amen. And they wanted to come back. So for me, that was like, I'm really glad they left because they taught me a huge lesson, huge lesson about paying attention to who's doing what, and to increase the communication. because I felt bad they couldn't actually tell me that that guy was the problem. And there's multiple factors involved in that, but I'm like, I got to make sure that doesn't happen again, because one man can ruin a whole team.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about leadership, a guy put in a position who isn't ready or is not the right leader.
Yeah.
We'll just put it at that, right?
Yeah.
It's the wrong, he might lead well in something else, but it doesn't work. So that was quite a learning experience.
I told a family member recently that they recently got back into corporate America. Really, well, I'm going to keep it as anonymous as I can, corporate America. And I said, here's the thing you got to understand. You're going to have to play the game. Corporate America is littered with lesser talented people at the top because they're better at playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
You're talented and you have worth. It doesn't matter until you combine that with playing the game. Now, that's not the standard I want to have. I don't get down with that at all. And your comment about level water and you're punished because now you know the right thing, you have standards. I equate this to, we just built a whole community for the mattress space on Go High Level. And I'm like, when our team decided that's the tech stack we're going to use, which isn't my lane, I was like, fantastic. I am hearing so many things from people that I have respect for, people that I know, people that are in my circle that are just loving Go High Level. Okay, fantastic. Let's do it. I come to find out there's standards and then there's our standards. There's use cases and then there's how we want this thing to look, feel, and that experience. And it really gave me this final belief of, you know what, here's what I'm going to operate from here on out, anything tech related. Name your price. That's fine. I get to name the discount and the deal structure for when you and your thing doesn't work as sold. If we can agree on those terms, let's do business, right? Because it's just what I found out from that is, well, maybe these people just have different standards than us, and for us, we're just on a different level. And I've had that feedback back. Like, people get into our thing, they say, I didn't even know it could look like this. I didn't even know you could do that. I didn't expect it to be this deep at all. And that's our standard, kind of like you had your standard for water features and you spoiled your people. That's amazing leadership.
Yeah. I think Jeff, the problem, let me tell you, the whole problem with the world. No, it's just mediocrity is so accepted.
Mm-hmm.
That's their high bar, being mediocre.
Yep.
Because you reach average as soon as your eyes open up in bed. You've reached average right there. I mean, you don't even have to sit up and you're average. And where do they go from there? Right? Most people don't get past that. I mean, they get up out of bed, but mediocrity, foods like that. I mean, do you think McDonald's is like quality food? It's fast and it's cheap. And that's what people pay for. Fast and cheap.
Yep. I
see double drive-thrus wrapped around the building. Like, people still eat this? I've eaten that food in 30 years, but they do. So it's mediocrity. Expectations, zero, Now you got your Chick-fil-A's and you have a few other, places and stuff that do a different thing, which is great. And they stand out and that's all good. But in general, people just accept mediocrity. Like, it's just, that's the expectation. I cannot live that way.
Yeah. Even Chick-fil-A, with all of its success, and my oldest boy, he was not a college path kid. He was a manager at Chick-fil-A. And we said, work there as long as you can, get as much advancement there as long as you can. It will help you in so many ways, whether you stay in the workforce or you go out on your own. You will know how to lead people. They train other restaurants on their service standards. They have a whole company that does that. Like, they train Texas Roadhouse as an example. I know that for a fact. But even there, like, you reach a level of success that they've had. Well, they've had to now sacrifice their chicken. That was in the press about 6-8 weeks ago, because they've just grown so much. They can't get the same quality. Like, I don't know a whole lot about like chicken cutlets, but like, I know what was really good, but what is now isn't so great because there's just so many units, and the supply isn't there for the demand. And that's something you have to think about as a business owner as you grow. What gets sacrificed with that growth? And do you want to allow that to happen? And does it take away this special secret sauce, the herbs and spices?
I think what's important about that, Jeff, and this is a really good time to mention this. Every owner has to determine how much is enough.
Yep.
Okay. That's part of like when we talk strategic vision or like where are we going to go with this? What am I actually do with this company? Like you got an idea or you're a tech guy or whatever, and you jump in and you start doing it because you can do it. But the problem is there's no real plan. So it's what I call ignorance on fire, which is a good thing to have. If you can have ignorance on fire in the beginning, you need that because you're going to push through. You're going to fall down about 75 times, get up again and keep going. You're going to get some scars. You're going to get beat up, but you're going to be able to push through. But then there comes a time when you have to know the actual strategy, what that is. And if you can go to the end and look at that, how much is enough? If you can't determine that, what are you going to do? You grow forever, right? And the only thing I know that grows forever is cancer, and it kills its host, right? That's what it does. That's its outcome.
Yeah.
It'll kill you. So that's what your business will do. And I often equate it to the apple tree. So I've got a nice 20-foot apple tree. It's producing great fruit. That's awesome. Good. Well, do I want an 800-foot apple tree? Because, man, I really got to go high to get them apples. There's a lot of work to get that big. Or do I want to have an apple orchard? And every tree is a business and another business and another business, that systemizes and runs itself because I know how to do that. And I can get the right people to run this. Now I have an amazing orchard that I can pick. Low-hanging fruit. I can go up the middle. I can go up to the top. I've got all the equipment to handle that. That's how I want to look at it. But if you don't know the end, if you don't know how much is enough, if you don't know when you want to get out of this business, if you don't know what you need to be able to exit the business, that's a big problem too. They don't know what they need to actually exit the business. Like the gentleman we were talking about earlier, he's got all this stuff and he wouldn't be able to have a retirement sale.
Yeah.
Right? You're just on the street. The doors are shut and, it's all going to the Salvation Army. Furniture, I'll be buying it for, $16 at the Salvation Army store.
I mean, you couldn't hit that more on the head. I mean, this went down, I want to say 2009 or 10, and 80% of the inventory was wood frame waterbed related inventory. So like
I had a waterbed back in the day.
Yeah, right. A lot of people did, man. So that's how I got into this. I got into this industry, and I got lined up with a national sales rep team that had a career in patents. The owner had patents in the waterbed industry and knew all the waterbed characters they were. If you're ever inclined about this, anybody listening, watching, even yourself, Richard, get the book Waterbed Wars on Amazon. I mean, these guys partied, they did business, and, a lot of them, ignorance on fire the whole time.
Yeah.
Right to the end, crashed and burned. But some of them became some of the furniture and mattress industry's best success stories. Home Furniture in Minnesota is one of them. They were a waterbed company, and they ran a business, a real business. And the Johansson brothers are like local heroes up there in Minnesota. Don't you know? And they do great. But man, I've loved our time together. Let's pick up and kind of close the loop. So we closed the business in 2008.
Yep.
And we transition out, and we're at Sharpen the Spear today. What happens in between in that about 16 years?
Right. So I said, well, again, I can't really work for someone. Didn't know what I was going to do, but I had to figure something out. Now I'm big into fitness and training and obviously all the boxing, all that kind of stuff. Been a trainer for a long time. So I said, well, I'll just go right now. I'll go like to an Anytime Fitness and I'll be a fitness trainer. So I went to a local one and they had like a subcontractor company that you can be a trainer. They didn't have anyone there. They're trying to get us. Well, I'll come in, I'll do it. And I'll start a training thing. So I did that. And, I'm an all or nothing guy. So next year I'm Anytime Fitness Trainer of the Year. Okay. Because I built this whole thing up. I'm like, well, that's good. Well, that means what? I should go start my own gym. Mm-hmm. And I'll do boot camp style training. I'll do the group stuff. I'll do 30-minute workouts. And I built this thing out. It was great. It was a lot of fun. So, but again, I wanted to be around the family. So I had 7 classes a day. I hired trainers, right? Kind of took the Marine Corps mentality and made all that work. And that was great. That was a lot of fun. Did it for a number of years. There I am. Golly, I'm a little leaner then. But it's I made that happen. That was good. Then I started the contracting business. So I'm doing roofing, siding, windows. Because I wanted to do even more. So I started that, and that went great for a bunch of years. And I wanted to exit out of that because at the same time, people are saying, well, how did you go from total loss to like getting back on top again? So I started mentoring people, right? They asked me to help another entrepreneur, another business owner. I said, wow, I'm kind of good at this, so we kept doing that. So I'm helping. That's when coaching was born. There was no real coaching when I was coming up, right? In the beginning, the 80s, 90s. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could maybe find one somewhere high end, but there wasn't available like it is today. So I started doing that. Again, I'm an entrepreneur, so let's turn this into a business. So I said, let's write a book. Let me do my story and what you should do as a contractor. Let me put it all into a book to help others. So I did that, built an academy around that. That started going, did a few other things with coaching with some other folks. And then Sharpen the Spear was kind of born out of all of that because I really got it dialed in where I could take people through the full program of systemization, performance, strategy, scalability. So really could help them create that freedom, profit, and impact. Because what I wanted to do, Jeff, I wanted to be able to really get them their freedom because everyone went into business for freedom. Okay. I mean, ask anyone, that's the number one thing. I own my time. Yes, all 100 hours a week you're working, you own it all. You know what I mean?
The time owns me is really more what
exactly.
What
so you're serving your business does not serve you. And I wanted to change all that. I want to show them because I saw the pattern. The pattern is identical in every single business. They do the first 2 years really hard. Next thing you know, 10 years has gone by. They've repeated the first 2 years 5 times. And that's why they're not scaling. So that really birthed that. And I love the whole, again, using my warrior mindset. So I'm honing entrepreneurial warriors on the battlefield of business. That's my tagline. Because I really approach it like war. It is an endless war. You're battling against obscurity. You're trying to gain market share. You're trying to keep people, all this stuff. It's just a constant battle, but you can manage it. You need to become the general and not the lieutenant.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't just run the platoon. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny you use that battlefield analogy. I was on a emergency call with one of my clients last night, and he's a young kid, up and comer in our industry, just doing great stuff. You would love him. And he was kind of lamenting about problems. And I said, hey, I just want to pause you for a second. I said, you're a young man and I have tons of respect for you. I said, so I don't want to hurt your feelings when I say this, but did you really think the problem stopped as you grew? I said, the difference here is what we're doing together is I'm helping you to delegate, balance, and get freedom back. But let's just pause our conversations right now. If you think problems are just going to end because you have more sales, like that's not the way this goes. The art of this thing will be we limit those problems and you have people to help with those problems. But they're still going to come up. There's still a human element to all of this. It's just there's more of it.
Yeah.
We're going to have problems. It is a battlefield.
Problems are opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a problem is. That's what you have to drive home.
Yep.
Problems are opportunities, and people have to learn how that is. And then we have a method too for teaching our people how to solve the problems. And if they do come to us, it's called the 3 S's. So here's the situation. This is what I want you to send to me in an email or come prepared. Here's the situation. Here's my solutions, right? So you have solutions. Give me a couple. And then your suggestion on what solution or multiple solutions you think will work. You bring that to me, we can get things done. You don't bring that to me, I don't even want to see you. Mm-hmm. So we train them in that method, but problems are opportunities. The problems change your business.
Yeah.
They help you be creative. That pressure to solve that problem, the tactical fire that flares up, we can put it out, but then we create a strategy so it never happens again. So they're all opportunities to better your business. So that's a good talk you had with him. And if he grabs a hold of that and understands it, dude, he can take over the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and I want people to connect with you, Richard. Go to Sharpen the Spear Coaching. And I think the final thing to end on is you don't have to go this alone. Yes, there is opportunity to connect to free. Yes, there is opportunity to exist in community forums, niche Facebook groups. Yes. It's all worth the price you invest, right? Not to say free information isn't good information, but there is something to be said when somebody is invested with you in you. And in my case with this example, I said, you know what, man? I said, I really wish you would have brought this specific problem you reached out for to me 3 weeks ago, because we have a whole network. And as a matter of fact, the solution existed in your network. And here's how I would have handled it. And we would have saved $1,000, literally $1,000 in shipping fees. That's what we would have saved. And we would have helped another local member out, and we could have worked together here. So that's the lesson. Like, you're not alone. Invest with the right people, be with the right people. David Gatto is in the trades. He's an amazing guy, amazing story, was in prison, fought addiction, homelessness, and now has Future Solutions Fence in York, Pennsylvania. I don't know if you two know each other. You ought to.
I do now. I can see his name. I see his face.
You would love David. You guys would jam. He does a podcast. I think he focuses a little more on that in the off season, I think, but you guys need to connect. But everybody should connect with you, Richard. SharpenTheSpearCoaching.com. Title of your book again, and where do people get it?
Escape the Owner Prison. You can get it on Amazon, but I want to do something for your listeners.
Awesome.
If you guys go to my website, SharpenTheSpearCoaching.com, go down to the contact, send me a 1-sentence email, said, hey, saw you on Jeff's show. Can I get your free audiobook for Escape the Owner Prison? And I will send it right to you. No charge, no nothing. No, boom, you have the audiobook. You'll get to hear me for 2.5 more hours.
Is
that incredible? That's worth the price of admission right there.
That's audio bliss right there. Love it.
That's it. Windshield time, baby. Make use of it.
Yes, I do that all the time. Yep. Richard, it's been a joy, man. Loved having you on the show. Love everything you're doing. Thank you for sharing your brilliance with people, leaning into those talents, being an excellent leader. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Love being on here, man. It's awesome.
All right. Everybody else, thank you for tuning into this show. Hope you enjoyed the conversation with Richard and I. Remember, we're live on all the socials every week. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're on DBTV, streaming out there on your favorite smart TV and smart app. And of course, we're on your favorite audio podcast player. We'll see you next week on the Big Ticket Life. Take care. You just heard another impactful show on the Big Ticket Life, challenging leaders to lead with courage and work to solve the clash that exists between those they lead and the lives they live. Now is the time to focus on leveling up the humans you lead and the impact you can create in their lives. It's time to lead with courage and be a living example of courage. I'd love for you to go to thejeffg.com/mission. That's thejeffg.com/mission right now and book a call with me to discuss how to integrate these examples of courage into your leadership, how to approach your team with vulnerability, and most importantly, so we can plan out how you'll invest and level up the humans you lead for maximum healing and impact so you can be the leader your people need every day. Visit thejeffg.com/